How's it going? Oh my God, Amy Harrington's in the house. Girl, good to see you. Ah, I love it. All right, so please go into the chat. Tell me where you're calling in from. We've got a bunch more people coming on. I don't know where they are, but it's realtor time. It's 1 o'clock on Thursday. We know what that is. It's Catalyst Coaching with Sherri Johnson. I'm excited to see a lot of you. I know you've either booked a call or you have um, been on before. So if you're new, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. If you have experienced Sherri Johnson coaching, this is going to help you today. We're going to talk about how to keep deals together, put them together, be a better deal maker, and negotiate, I believe, at a way much higher level that will actually close more deals with stress free, like without the stress. And secondly, and almost as importantly, keep deals together. Because right now, the hot topic everyone is asking me to cover is honestly, like my agents can't keep deals together, or agents are calling me and saying, I can't get through home inspection. I can't get through these challenges. And I think there's a combination of things going on, folks. I think the one thing is that a huge population of our agent, professional population of agents, got their license at a time period, right? Would you all agree? Some have been licensed longer than 10 years or longer than 5 years. And so some of these agents, and it's nothing against them, they didn't have to negotiate home inspection. They didn't have to do a price reduction, right? So if you've gotten your license in the last 5 years, you might be saying, yeah, that's me. I don't know what I'm doing. I never had to negotiate a home inspection because we didn't do them. They were waived, right? So the last few years, we've had such a change in the way we do business that I think we have, again, like always, there's a shift, there's a learning curve, there's I say go back to balanced markets and go back to practices that we've always used that have worked. And so I'm going to share with you strategies today to really hone your skills as an expert negotiator. And again, make sure that you are a deal maker, right? This isn't about coercing people and being weird or sleazy sales techniques. It's about value added negotiation strategies that will work, that will actually help you to stop saying some things that you're saying. I call that sales prevention when we keep using scripts that don't work. And we've used scripts from the past that used to work, that don't work anymore. And so we're going to stop the things that aren't working. We're going to implement the things that do. And so I'll jump into, if you've got the ability to be on screen, I know you'll have a better experience. I say this all the time. I've been coaching online way before COVID. We were literally in Zoom way before 2020, and it is a much more engaging experience if you are locked in, taking notes, and be careful if you are listening from your car. I see you, Gretel. Nice to have you. Thanks for being here. But I do want you to take as much as you can out of this. I'm going to give away a few really cool things. Um, let's see here. I don't know who I just turned off screen share for. Maybe it was Liz. Can you all see my slide deck yet? Are you seeing my slides, Amy? Okay, cool. You do? Oh, Chuck, are you seeing the slides? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Oh, I just hit share. I meant to hit slideshow. So while I want you to get out a pen, I want you to put the do's and the don'ts. Like these are the behaviors we have to stop doing that are not helping you sell more houses, actually. They're hurting you. It's preventing you from being more effective. It's literally talking to a client ahead of time before you're live. And I'm going to explain why all that pre-negotiation strategy talk is going to help you when it becomes live and why some of the things you're doing, whether it's texting, like we have a tendency to text and email too much and we just can't negotiate effectively that way. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. And you say, but Sherri, my clients won't talk to me. If you set the tone, if you tell them up front, I'm selling your $750,000 home. You're buying $1 million property from me. You're buying a $400,000 property from me. I need to speak to you live. I can't do this on text. I know for setting up appointments and I'm going to confirm things and factual things I can tell you on a text. Let's stop doing some of the things that are just bad habits, right? And start doing the things that actually create an easier sale for you where you won't want to quit the business. I'm speaking your language. I know that because I always say if you don't want to quit, you're not doing enough business, frankly. But I also say there are stressful deals. They can be 1 out of 10, right? Can be stressful. 10% of them can be a nightmare. It doesn't have to be 1 out of 10 is a dream. And what I see is that agents have a tendency, they vibrate at a crisis mode, and I get it. What we're doing is a lot. But we don't have to vibrate at that speed, making ourselves unhealthy, making ourselves more stressed out. And again, thinking like, I do all this work and I don't want that. I want you to have easier conversations. I'm going to teach you today. This has been, I don't know where we coined this title, but it's speak on purpose, speak with purpose. And these are the negotiation strategies I use, have used forever, have refined over the last, whatever, 29 years of real estate and about 5 or 6 years before that in another life. But this is where I want you to believe that you can speak on purpose, you can speak with purpose, and you will help people go through the stages of the selling process, whether they're buying, selling, both, right? Whether it's a negotiation on a home inspection or it is getting the listing, right? So there's or once you've got the listing, how do I talk to a client and set the tone for the rest of the process? I want you to have a 200-yard drive off the tee box. I golf, so I use a golf analogy a lot. If we could prepare people better, right? We will have a much better experience. All of us, everybody, both clients. I'm going to tell you words that work, words that don't work. Some of the words we're saying just continue. It's not that they're harmful necessarily, they are not effective. And so, I'm going to give you better ways to talk, better script strategies, and I think you're going to love it. All right. So, first off, I'm Sherri Johnson, national real estate coach, speaker, whatever, all the things, a consultant, author, coach. I have a background in real estate. Actually, I sold houses. Many of you know my funny story. I sold 5 houses my first month. Only one of them came from Sphere. The other 4 came from one house. And that's where I built my entire business on listing houses and selling 3 to 5 houses off of every listing. And that strategy is part of our coaching program. But I want to tell you, after, a great year of 10 years of sales, I was in the top 20 to 25 consistently with the company in Cleveland. We had about 3,000 agents, 2 to 3,000 agents at one point. And I was in the top 25 as a solo agent, selling over 50 houses a year. And, I in about an average $400,000 price, maybe is what I grew it to, about 400. After that, I led a bunch of offices for a really large independent company in Cleveland. They're in about 9 states now. I built a territory of 800 agents from 500 million to 2 billion with a B, 2 billion in about 4 years through Goldmine Pipeline and coaching and training and coaching agents just like you. So I love this. I wanted to have a national speaking coaching company since I was 27 years old. After 20 years of being at Howard Hanna Real Estate, mostly, selling and as an executive, I started Sherri Johnson Coaching about 8 years ago. Have been the top, female coach in the space for a while, which I'm excited about. But I've also coached a lot of you at your companies, um, in the past or currently. I will tell you that the number one thing that we do is transform agents' lives by just making modifications. If you're brand new, of course, you have to learn a lot more. If you're a seasoned pro, a top agent, a team leader, there's an easier way to do this business where you work less, make more, and you can have work-life balance. That's my goal is to help you build wealth, to help you have a scalable and saleable business, and to do it with a healthy, day-to-day life. This is not about burning out. It drives me crazy. when I see burnout for people. So 8 years, 8.5 years of Sherri Johnson coaching. I'm thrilled to tell you that. And it's been a lot of fun. I coach executives to managers to regional managers and help companies grow. And that's just what I've been doing. So it's a lot of fun. You can connect with me here. Um, Feel free to download my digital app. It's really kind of more than a digital business card. This is something we give agents in coaching. You can download a few things out of there, the Gold Mine Pipeline, as well as book a call with me, become a coach if you want, all those things. It's all in there. I'll show you. Also, we're giving away a free coaching call today. Here's the deal, right? If you are looking at your business like it's the half year, it's a little over half the year, right? You have 5.5 really good months left. Okay. Maybe call it 5. And if you condensed your decision making and your 10xing activities and you say, you know what, I'm gonna take advantage of this call, we will launch your gold mine pipeline. If you have a pipeline, we'll show you how to double it or triple it within 1 or 2 calls. And this is really um, the essence of what we do right here. So if you want to book this call, scan that QR code. The slots fill up quickly, but I will tell you that we have lots of opportunities here. Talk about your business, talk about coaching, talk about whatever it is you want during this call. You might want to raise your average sale price and your units. All of that, perfect. Okay. Don't forget my. This is actually the podcast that I started several years ago in 2018. This is the Sherri Johnson You Rock Real Estate Podcast. This has about 320 episodes. Go check it out. It's on every podcast platform. We have a new podcast coming out in the next, probably not next week, the week after, called The Sherri Johnson Show. I'm featuring more interviews, same content, even more amped up. I decided to just go to a new podcast, and this one is awesome. And there's a lot of great content in here, great interviews, top agents, teams, managers. You'll hear so much of what you need in these. I have people tell me they've sold 5 houses from listening to my podcast. One person stopped me in an elevator. So take advantage of the podcast and listen to it. I think you will be extremely happy that you did. Um, when you look at what do I say and how do I say it? How do I talk? What's the value I bring when I, bring, uh, a new buyer to an exclusive buyer agreement and I have to show value, right? And I've been doing that since 1996 with a buyer presentation and an exclusive buyer agreement where you have to say, like, why would you hire me? Same with a listing, same with a seller. So, why do people use you? And do you have a plan? Do you have a value proposition that you use that works? Your most influential scripts and strategies. So, people say to me, well, what's the script? Here it is. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you 12 that work and 12 that don't. Okay? This is what you're saying that's not working, and here's what you should say. Why do we need to have a strategy? Well, every time I talk to someone, I need to know what's the end result we're all looking for. Not just me, but the client, right? And if you say you to people a lot, right? If you say, well, you didn't this and you're gonna, like, your price is to, like, sometimes it's nice to just say we. Change the we and you. Like if you're saying you, the person thinks you're talking at them like this, like you're pointing your finger at them. So you're really cognizant of body language, tone of voice, pace of what you speak, and the words that you choose. And we're talking about all of that. But what are the words and phrases that actually generate a positive action from the people you're speaking to? And what to avoid, right? These are the things that work. These are the ones that don't. And we want to have an opportunity plan, a goal and a strategy for every single opportunity. What's the approach? What's my strategy going to be when I talk to Lisa and Mike? What's my, to overcome objections or to be able to say, you know, here's where you are. I don't know if it's going to be in your best financial interest to go here, here, or here. Let's talk about the options and then the risks and benefits of each one. Right? That's being strategic. Asking someone to book an appointment with you Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10 is strategic because I'm asking for an evening weekday and a morning weekend. It's built-in strategy. So if you're just winging it, then I think you're just winging it, which is kind of not going to work. Doesn't work because people meet you at varying stages of their home buying and selling process. They meet you and they're ready to go. We know what to do with those people. Every contact, people you know, people you don't know, right? Your whole client list that includes your past clients, but that is your client list. And then the whole world of people out there that you don't know yet, that you haven't met yet, the farming you're doing, the, leveraging one house in a neighborhood to get more listings, all those contacts, right? They go through a stages of the sales conversion process. And at each stage, we have to know how to address them and talk to them and truly negotiate, right? I'm negotiating when I sit down with a seller to hire me, right? Maybe I'm not negotiating my fee, right? Most of us need to know why it is we get, like, how do I know I'm going to get X%? Because I know what I'm saying when I say it. You have a strategy. So along each one of these each one of these stages of the sales conversion process, I made this a long time ago. We have to convert people with a really good strategy. And we convert that lead into a client by adding value. We convert that client into an appointment. This is where we usually fail, these two areas. And again, we know what to do with people who know what they're doing. That's why the gold mine pipeline is so important because it builds a long game approach. It builds a backlog of people who are going to buy from you 6 months from now, 8 months from now, 10 months from now. Getting an appointment is the only way I know to actually write some sort of contract, a listing agreement, a buyer agreement, or an offer to purchase. And then, of course, we negotiate and you get to closings and the closings turn into commission. We just repeat this. But along the way, you have to have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, you're winging it. And when I say to people you're winging it, they admit to me, I go from deal to deal and I explain the process to people in real time. So avoid doing things in real time. Why is that not fun for people? Well, it's not fun because they actually hear what you're telling them in real time, okay? Which is an interesting thing, right? You guys good with audio? Perfect. Um, if they're hearing about radon after their house has been under contract, there's a home inspection. Now you're telling them it's going to cost $2,000. It's the first time they're hearing it. It would have been a lot better if we told them about the things that could happen before the home inspection, before it even got the contract. Now they're prepared, right? People don't like surprises. And if we can eliminate, I know you can't tell them everything, but think about if you just did a few more things instead of telling them in real time, you told them at the beginning of the process. We're going to cover that. All right. So opportunities aren't lost, they go to someone else. And that is a rude awakening, I hope, for some. If you're not following up with people, if you're not negotiating at the best that you can, if you're not closing. And so we want to talk about why it's important to get a value proposition communicated by adding value on purpose. Like, this is why we do this. I believe you sell yourself first, your value, the expertise, knowledge, skill set. I'm a problem solver. I'm an expert negotiator. I'm an expert marketer. I'm an expert stager, right? I have a social media marketing plan. I do drone footage, all of these things. I use AI. I sell myself and my value, then you sell a house. Okay. Then I sell a house. So I want you to really think, how do you radically differentiate you compared to everyone else? That's the thing, right? Like, why would I choose you over somebody else? Right? That's going to be huge on every appointment you go on. When you look at the body language, tone of voice, and words, right? 55% of communication is body language. That's why you can't negotiate over a text. You can't negotiate effectively over text or email. It doesn't work. Trying to get a price reduction from someone on an email, it's a horrible idea. And I've watched the movie and I've watched it go up in flames every time. People lose listings because they're telling people what's wrong with their house unilaterally, one way, right? I have to be in front of you. You are most effective when you are in front, face to face. You are magnetic and you are going to be able to read their body language and respond to it better when you're face to face. That's how that works. Okay. Tone of voice, 38%. And literally the pace and cadence at which you speak is 38% of communication. So now I've got 93% is made up of tone of voice and cadence of speaking and body language. I haven't even said a word yet. I haven't picked a word yet. So 7% is going to be really important for you to speak with intentional purpose. I like to say issues, not problem. The word problem is not always good unless you want to say, oh, this is problematic. That's kind of a showstopper, right? I save that. When you say competitive market analysis instead of comparative, you're differentiating yourself. Everyone says comps. Everyone says comparative market analysis. You're different. You're saying things differently. Everyone's saying marketing, rather listing presentation. You're saying marketing strategy, marketing proposal. Instead of saying comps, say pricing strategy, right? Do you see what I'm saying? When you differentiate yourself and you have powerful scripts, you will move people through the sales process. It works every time. So the first thing I'm going to say is ask leading questions. The person who talks the most just talks the most. They're dominating the conversation. That's all that's happening. You're over mirroring is what I call it. Like, oh, I know those people. I went there. Yes. And all you do is get to know each other. Okay. And that's not bad. I want you to do some of that. But when you only do that, then that's all we're doing. We just over mirror the client and we're only following their lead. And I need you to lead the transaction, right? One of my classes is who's leading the transaction, you or your client? So the person who talks the most just talks the most. The person who asks the most questions actually controls the conversation. I want you to think about that. Yeah, Gretel, I get it. These agents, like we have to be, I'm going to cover this. We have to be the leader and tell the agent, I can't do this over text. I need to speak to you live. So annoying, and I agree with you. Like they won't communicate with you live. So it's a problem, I think, in our industry. So control the conversation is asking leading questions. What is a leading question? Well, it's a question that's going to ask a question that their answer prompts another question. Right? Will you be keeping your house or will you be selling it? Will you be keeping your house? I know the answer. No one ever says yes. Oh, no, we're not keeping our house. Okay, so you're going to be selling it. Yes. Asking leading questions that help you ask the next question to help service them better. The natural progression happens, right? When we just over mirror, we have a harder time later of establishing your expertise, your authority, etc. Okay, we're just constantly over mirroring. I'll give you an example of such. One of my best phrases ever, probably in the history of my career in 35 years of whatever, everything I've ever done, is to say this phrase, right? Is this going to be in your best financial interest? Right? In your best financial interest can be said as a question. It can be said as a statement. It can be said during a negotiation. It can be said at a marketing listing appointment, right? I can say things like, it's not going to be in your best financial interest to choose another agent other than me, and here's why. Radically differentiating bullet point 1, 2, and 3. I can radically differentiate what I do because no one does what I do. No one does what my company does. No one has a 3-tier marketing strategy like I do, a negotiation strategy, a pricing strategy, right? So I want you to say in your best financial interest as a statement. I want you to get used to it. I want you to say it as a question. When would I say it as a question? Well, I might say, this may not be, I need you to think, is this going to be in your best financial interest to not lower the price right now because we've been on the market X number of days. We haven't had any showings in the last 3 weeks. We haven't had any offers, right? And is it going to be in your best financial interest? Let's have a conversation about that. I don't need to know your personal situation financially, but I need you to pause and think about, it took us X number of showings, took, 22 showings in 65 days to get this offer. That's our number. It's going to take another X number of showings and another 65 days to see another offer. Those are our numbers right now. So do you think it's a good strategy, and is it going to be in your best financial interest to not counter this offer, right? And so it helps people pause. I think it gives them a moment of, if there's opportunity cost involved, if there's a home inspection and it's like, this is potentially not going to be in your best financial interest to not resolve these issues now, because then we now have to disclose them. Now you're saying that part about we have to disclose these, but if you add the financial interest piece, you are going to get through they hit a pause button, they think about it, and it creates a little bit of doubt or pain, and they rethink what they're going to do. We've had people, you've had them, they say, I'm taking the house off the market, raise the price, kill this deal, right? Like, and you're like, wow. And so many agents just do it. They do whatever this, and I get it. I get the accountability of the old car and our obligation, but that's not in their best interest. And we have to be the ones that say, hold on. I know you're really upset right now. I get it. I understand. Two words, most underutilized two words in the world, personally, professionally, anywhere. Just say, I understand. Do you know what I understand? Validating them, right? I want you to use in your best financial interest. It works really, really well. The presumptive close technique is a strategy where you want to say something that sounds like we're already doing it, right? When I list your house, I hear agents say, if you list with me, I strike the word if, right? We're not saying if I sell three houses, we're saying when I sell three houses. So if we're going to have a presumptive close technique, and it's not to be pushy, it's not to be obnoxious, but it's a better way to get people through the next stage of wherever they are, buying, selling, having a home inspection, right? In a home inspection, I would say this, right? Obviously, we're going to need to fix these repairs because they're material defects and they need to be in working order. Mike and Lisa, they need to be working, right? Your roof is not leaking, and I understand you don't want to replace the roof. I get that one. But the other four things we didn't know about, now we do. And obviously, these are seller responsibilities. So we're going to be fixing those. I'm sure you agree. That's being presumptive, right? I always say don't be over assuming, but there's a time and a place where when you're leading this, you're actually saying what we need to do instead of saying, well, tell me what you want to do. There's nothing worse than just being a fill in the contracts person. You know, you need to guide people with good, solid advice. When we're working together, you know, when I take pictures, one of my favorites on a listing appointment, you might remember this, some of you have heard me say this. I get done with the tour. I haven't talked about pricing. I haven't talked about the fee yet. And I say, you know what, Janice, I'm going to need a key to the front door. And Janice walks straight over to the junk drawer, gets the key, and brings it over to me while I'm still talking and about to drink my iced tea. And I've got the key to the house, right? I'm going to need a key. It's one of the best. It's a Sherri Johnson. It works. It works. It works fabulously. Now, that's being super confident, right? But I'm going to tell you what, they go get the key, you're getting the listing, right? Now you just have to say, continue to say the right things. What happens is I think we usually just take the lead. So the thing we're doing wrong is we're not taking the lead. We're letting them lead us. And so we end up like going through your presentation. And then the next thing you do is go to comps, right? You talk about comps and we're giving free commercials to agents who have sold other properties. Take those names out of there, right? On the sheets, take them out. I was with an agent once and the seller said, I should just list with this guy. He sells everything because she kept saying that was that was the agent who sold that house. And I, of course, said, no, you don't want to do that. That's why we're sitting here, right? But you have to be really careful when we're talking and glamorizing a ABC company. I never say another brand unless I really want to say it for like a, go for the jugular moment. Not to be mean, just to say, look, the market share stats are the market share stats. Every other company, whether it's the company you're also looking at, or, I mean, you could say things really strategically. All right, so this one is really great. This is my favorite. Well, they all are, but this is one of my favorite ones. This is the sandwich theory. And this is how you can effectively, when you've got that agent who's like, you know what, Amy, you're going to kill me. I just read a really low offer. And you're like, why would you start a conversation like that? But people do this. You're gonna, whatever. This isn't good. You're gonna hate me. Notice I'm also using Debbie Downer voice, right? Which I didn't talk about during during your voice tonality. High enthusiasm, confidence, exude authority. I'm not being authoritarian-ish. That's bad. That's gross. I'm talking about speak with confidence. Amy, it's Sherri Johnson with XYZ. I'm so excited. I just wrote an offer on your property. I want to get it over to you. I might text this. I might say it, right? I'd prefer to say it, of course. And before I send it to you, I'd like to have a quick call with you so I can go over some highlights of it. I know I'm talking 1990, 2005, maybe 2010. Listen, if you're a leader in your market, you will get people to call you because you can't have a good negotiation otherwise. So, sandwich theory says this. I'm going to start and end every conversation on a high note. That's with another agent, that's with your client, that's with the buyer, it's with the seller, it doesn't matter. I've had sellers look at me and say, there's no way this deal's coming together. I go, yeah, it is, right? Of course, they're going to think that. But you know better because you never give up on something. There's always a way to keep something together. So, beginning and ending on a high note means that we start by saying, wow, I am so excited. We're going to get your house sold tonight. And they go, yeah, okay. And then you say, I really am. And by the way, uh, there is no reason we can't get your home sold. And while there are a couple of, issues we're going to get through on the contract and the offer, I am positive this is the right buyer. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you at 7 o'clock. I'm coming over, or I'm sending it to you now. We can go over it on Zoom. So think about that. How you start a conversation with your seller is going to dictate how well the negotiation strategy works with them, whether it's with another agent, with the buyer, or with the seller. Okay. Your client is going to either think this is great by the way you talk, or they're going to say, I don't agree. Or and even if they say they don't agree, right? How well do you handle that when it's coming at you? When we talk in a flat note or we pause too long, there's always agents will talk like, this is the offer, this is what they want. The other agent said the following, which none of that needed to be said. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. Why do we repeat nonsense that doesn't help? Here's the filter. Does it help or does it not help, right? Does this help us or does it not? If it's not, if it's gossip or weird or, I've watched people ruin deals because they focused on the personalities and not the property. And by that, I mean, they said, oh, this agent never calls me back. What relevancy? Who cares? I'm not bringing that up to a client because they're going to say, oh, this is the agent that never calls you back. Yeah, you're right. I just want to look good. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Okay. And stop waiting for people. The flat note ending is awful. Here's the offer. What do you want me to do with it? Right? Doesn't work. Pre-negotiation, and this is part of what I was talking about at the beginning. When you tell people what to expect, it makes for a way better entire experience for everyone, you included. Okay. When you sit at a listing and you get that listing, they're signing up with you, and you've said to them, I have a negotiation strategy. We talked pricing strategy. I showed you my marketing strategy. Now I need to spend a few minutes talking about the negotiation strategy that we're going to use when an offer comes in. I don't have an offer yet, but I want to rip the Band-Aid off now. Why? Because I want them to freak out and say, oh my God, I'm not selling my house for this. Now, not when it's live. When it's live, people are in potentially the red zone. They may have a kid issue, a work issue. They might be freaking out about whatever, right? Who knows? They could be like, who knows? I don't know what state they're going to be in when the offer comes in. But I know this, if I've already told them what to expect, like what the offer could be. So let's talk about that. If I have a house listed at, I'm going to say 590, and I tell them that an offer could come in at 530, which is 90% of the list price. And they're like, 530? Yeah, it could come in at 530. It doesn't matter. Whatever comes in, we're going to have a counter offer strategy. We will counter offer every offer as long as it's in writing. Okay. 530 on a 590, okay, is closable. Doesn't mean it's not closable, right? So if I pre-counsel them and say, look, every offer comes in, we're going to negotiate. We're going to get an offer that's 90%, maybe even 88%, because we're a little high right now. I'm not going to tell them that, but our number's high. So we may get 88%. I tell them what that number is because when it comes in, instead of coming in, okay, instead of coming in at 90%. It comes in at 95%, which by the way is 560. Instead of them thinking 560 is horrible, they're going to be like, it came in at 560. It's way higher than Sherri said it could have come in at. We're operating from a position of happiness instead of trying to explain to them that 560 is a great offer. Do you follow? I mean, does everyone listen? Because that's what happens in real life. We don't tell them what to expect. Okay? We don't tell them what to expect. And then the offer comes in and it's a really good offer. It's 95 or 96% and they're upset and offended. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's what happens. So when you tell them it could come in less, they're like, hey, Sherri said it could have come in less. We're doing good. You say, yep, we are right on track. Now, I might say, ideally, I'd like somebody to come in at 95. But if they come in at 90, we are not going to be offended. How many of you have clients who are offended by an offer that comes in, right? They get offended, right? Amy's shaking her head. Here's the line. And so I love to say, Lisa and Mike, they're like, I were so offended. I say, you know what, guys, I'm actually more offended by the 22 other people that looked at your house and didn't write an offer. Is that a mic drop? I think here's my microphone. I'm going to drop it. Listen, that is the line that cuts through it all. You don't have to say another word after that. You know what you say? You do a long, intentional pause and you say, let's get your house sold. Okay. We talked about this. Don't be offended. I'm not letting you be offended. Where we start is not where we end up. Do not be offended. We had 22 people look at your house. So far, one has written an offer. Okay. So I'm not going to be a jerk about it, but I want to put them into the, oh yeah, 22 people did look at our house. We only have one offer. Okay. Focus on the property, not the personalities. I had a really funny situation, and this buyer had written a long, long letter about what the seller wrote it about why they had such pride of ownership. My agent, Wendy, was like, this letter, this like a 460 house. They were 10 grand apart. They get this letter. It's single space, 2 pages. They lived there for 35 years or something. And they just wanted everyone to know how much they loved their house, okay? But instead, the buyers got offended by this letter. And I said to Wendy, the seller doesn't come with the house. Come on, they're moving, they're leaving. So I want you to say that to people when you have to. Hey, look, the seller doesn't come with the house. Stop. It's not about the people. Let's focus on the person. Let's focus on the property, not the personalities. So that deal with the letter had been rescinded. And I said, Wendy, you get on the phone right now with the listing agent. You tell her, bring me another number. We're not done. And you tell the buyer, hey, we read this letter and we took it weird and we shouldn't have because I can't reproduce this house for you and you're gonna miss this opportunity and I can't reproduce this house for you. And actually, this is the house. So forget the sellers wrote this letter. They're nice people. They're interesting, whatever. The letter has nothing to do with you buying it. And they put the deal back together. Okay. So let's do ourselves a massive, massive big win here by having conversations ahead of time about inspection repairs. You can expect about $5,000 maybe. I don't know. We haven't had a home inspection yet. It could be 10. Because when I prepare people for 5 and it only comes back at 1,700, they're like, oh, thank God, it's only 1,700 instead of trying to get $1,700 done. Do you see what I'm saying? So stop doing it in real time and prepare people ahead of time. And you will love, love, love the results. This is one of my faves too. So we have a tendency, and I've done this in front of 3,000 people or 500 people at NAR, and it always gets a lot of laughs. And I hope I'm not hurting your feelings, but here's one of the biggest things you're doing that's getting in your way. When you say, I'm not going to let my buyer, or I'm not going to let my seller, okay, we are jumping in the ring with Mike Tyson, and it's not working, okay? It's an adversarial way to talk. And so I get it. I get it. I want you to, I'm going to say why you do it in a moment. This is one of the ones everyone's like, oh my God, I do this all the time. I know you do. I hear you do it. If you talk to your manager, you say, my buyer, I get it. When you are talking to another client or another agent and you say the client, the buyer, the seller versus saying my, you are taking yourself away from this, it's us against you thing, right? And you want to say things like you've had people say that. I had this early on in my career. I was like, this agent said, I'm not going to let my seller. I go, well, Diana, you're on the phone with me still. Let's call them. How about you call the seller and you ask the seller their opinion about this because they may have a different opinion than you. So it's a license law violation to speak like that, really. We don't really realize that, but it really is. And I think what happens is I think we're using these possessive pronouns because we want to protect. We're not attorneys, right? We're not in a courtroom, and our job is to get the deal done. So agents will say to me, "Well, I want people to know that Sherri, I will fight for them." I'm like, I get it, but we're not fighters. We're deal makers. We're facilitators. Our job in a negotiation is to have both sides feel like they won, not one get raked over, right? That's not fun. It's not good for anybody. I might need a favor right before closing as a buyer's agent. And I'm not going to be like, this is how it's going to be. That doesn't work. I've watched the movie, I've seen it hundreds, if not thousands. I used to sell 10,000 houses a year in my region. I've seen a lot of these. And, when you separate it, now I can say, Amy, what do we have to do? Like, here's the list. I need to know, like, what 4 things do we have to do to keep this deal together, right? You're not violating license law. You didn't commit to anything. You're saying, what do we need to do? Let's work together. Okay. A tactic I've used is this your take on the deal or your clients? Yes, exactly. Can you please just ask them how they feel about this offer? Yeah, we're getting in the way. Like agents are getting in their own way and it doesn't work. And so what ends up happening, and I want people to know I help them like they were my own kid. And here's what my answer to that is. They want you to actually put the deal together. They want you to treat them like they're your own kid. They want you to put the deal together and they want you to keep the deal together. So let's take our identity out of it. Like that's not working. Okay. The word obviously is a great strategy. This one is great. When we do nothing and we just sit back and wait, I believe, okay, that when you say obviously, it's non-offensive, it's non-insulting. It tells people they should already know what you're about to say. And an open house, you've heard me say it, my make 50 grand at an open house, right? I say, obviously, I'm going to need your information. You're in someone else's house. I don't say for security reasons because there's a word that brings about alarms, red alarms, police sirens. I like security. I say, obviously, I'm going to need your information. You're in someone else's home. Okay. And if you say it non condescendingly, but more energetically or matter of fact, it makes sense. Obviously, I'm going to need your information. Lisa, you're in someone else's home. And then the rest of that, I'm not going to call you if you don't want to be called. Right? Like I want to minimize the sign-in sheet. I'm minimizing the sign-in sheet by saying, obviously, you need to fill this out. And then my next step is to say, I'm not going to call you. I don't call people who don't want to be called. You walk that person through your open house, 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later, they're walking out the door and you have a listing appointment with the person who barely wanted to give you their first or last name. But remember, like I say, minimize and marginalize. I'm not talking about people ever. I'm talking about minimize topics, right? Minimize the topic that is giving people heartburn. Like the worst thing we do is keep adding air and like gasoline to the fire. That's not helpful, right? When you minimize it and isolate it, you can move on. The best negotiation, overcoming objections, right, is to isolate them and figure out what each one is and then what's bothering them. I can only really do that if I'm talking to someone on the phone, face to face is best. But if I can hear their voice, I know they're upset about something, right? I mean, I've seen people's faces go red in an offer or a negotiation. How do we do that, right? And then gradually they go from crossing their arms and red face and furrowed to relaxed, uncrossed, no more red face, hugging you, thanking you that you got the deal done for them. Okay. Homebuyer guide. adds value to everything. So if you don't have an exclusive homebuyer guide, notice I use the word exclusive homebuyer guide, you need to make one. An exclusive homebuyer guide is a prop that, number one, allows you to explain how you work, how I work best for you. It's a value driving tool. This value driver says, this is how I work. It's 22 pages, everything you need to know about buying a house. I have one for marketing your home as well. But not providing extended value is lost opportunity. By offering educational marketing to people, you can take your homebuyer guide and slice it up into 15 emails and do a drip campaign in your KV Core or whatever system you're using for a CRM. ChatGPT right now will help you do that, okay? But if you don't even have a homebuyer guide, ask ChatGPT to help you write it. We have them. It's a template. You can use ours. Homebuyer guide is going to help you be more strategic and get a listing appointment because it's the thing they want to do. You know, they want to sell their house, but they're more excited about where they're going usually. Anecdotal stories help. Here's why. When you use extreme examples of other people, like when I meet a buyer and I say, I work at your pace and your speed. Okay. I work at your pace and your speed, whether that's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. I'm working at your pace and your speed. I want to earn your trust and confidence and be your agent for life and that of your friends, family members, coworkers, and neighbors, right? Everyone you know. So anecdotal stories help. I have clients who are buying. They have more immediate needs. They need to buy a house right now. Their lease is up. They've moved here from another state, or we've sold their home. So those people need to buy a house, obviously, right now. They're more immediate. I have other clients who are living in a house in a great neighborhood in the school district they want to stay in, and they don't have to move. And so I showed them houses, periodically or once or twice a month. The people that are, immediate, I'm out showing them houses now, like every day we're looking at houses because they need to buy one. Where do you fall? Those are two extreme examples on a spectrum. It's an anecdotal story of your clients, right? Some of you don't even have this. You should describe it this way. You have to say that you literally have clients. You could say, I work with people and sometimes they're here and sometimes they're here. Another good anecdotal story to help people is, to tell them I've seen sellers not take the offer and get less later, right? Let me give you two really bad examples of that happening without giving names or properties. Telling anecdotal stories. People relate to stories. They really do. They really do. I work with lots of clients for weeks or months before we put a sign in their yard. I can do the same for you. I've done it for, hundreds of sellers, and I can do the same for you. It's an anecdotal story about other people. Your inspection results. This is one, I started to hint on this when we talked about, um, you know, the pre-counseling. When you have an actual inspection report, I was an agent. I was doing a deal with a client that was moving weirdly from Atlanta to Cleveland. And the agent, and I wish I knew her name, I don't remember her name. She called me up and she said, Sherri, we are halfway through the home inspection resolution process. And I was like, what did you just call it? Like, I was like, yes, I am using that. Home inspection resolution process. So much better than contingency. I know the legal word is contingency form. I get it. But when we name something, it makes it legitimate. And in this case, we're going to say resolution because we imply a positive outcome. You have to tell people ahead of time, guys. You have to tell your buyers. The purpose of a home inspection is to do these 4 things, right? It's not to have another round of negotiations. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to find, number one, that it's structurally sound and not falling down. Majorly dramatic, right? Like, let's make sure it's structurally sound. Number 2, there are no material defects. That would be like, a cracked heat exchanger, an actual leaking roof, not just an old roof, but one that's got shingles missing or is leaking, a dishwasher, a plumbing issue that is actually leaking. Those things are material defects. What's not a material? General maintenance. If you do this exercise before you take people out, before their home inspection, promise you will love it, right? The third reason is to make sure that you understand the inner workings of the house. That's one of the best parts of this educational process, is that the home inspector is going to provide you an education on where the main shutoffs are, etc., how to change a filter, whatever. But it's not what it is not. What we have to cover is what it is and what it is not. You do that, you'll have a much easier sale with your buyers. It's like smooth sailing, okay? Do not allow the client to control this process. If you are, you need coaching or something, because you can't let the client just dictate all over what they're doing. If you do this process ahead of time, it will be so much better. Number 11, add value in prospecting. When you, like, I love the word I use the word formula a lot. I'll say I have a formula for selling homes that didn't sell the first time, right, to an expired. I say I have a formula for selling homes. I have a formula for pricing homes. I have a formula for why homes aren't selling when I have them listed. The value add in this is that you have a bank of knowledge, expertise, information, statistics, resources. You know how to decipher all of that and put it into a value proposition that you're going to give these people. So when you add value, like when you say, I can come over and see your house and save you time and money on the home inspection list or the home repair list before you put your house on the market, that is value added. Like, I'm going to save you time and money before you call a contractor because you don't know what materials or colors or surfaces to put in your floors or counters. I do. You haven't sold a house in 11 years, right? And you need me now. I add more value at the beginning. When you speak that way, you will get better results. It's just absolutely factual. Okay. My last one is to communicate in person. I get it. We know agents don't answer their phones. You write this down. One of the best strategies I have is to call every single person who showed my listing. And I tell a seller that I'm going to do this. And I say to that seller, you're paying me to be the best objection overcomer that you know. Not only am I going to have the best pricing and marketing strategies, but when it comes to overcoming objections, I call every single agent who has shown your home. And sometimes they just fill out the little, multiple choice, whatever. I don't do that. I go beyond that. And the reason is that you guys, deals get made because agents talk to each other. If you have to text this, I get it. But I would prefer if you picked up the phone and called 2 or 3 times and got the person on the phone and said, hey, Lisa, it's Sherri Johnson calling. Thank you so much for showing my walnut circle in Chagrin Falls for $795. You showed it yesterday, and I just wanted to see, what is the thing? How can we be number one on your buyer's list? What do we have to do to be number one on your buyer's list for them to write an offer? That strategy has sold more houses for me because I called myself, because you're the best person at overcoming objections. When I was a regional vice president, I had a seller who said, your industry, and he said to me, he goes, the worst thing that happened to you is the showing time feedback. Like, he was like spitting nails that he should have. He said, Sherri, your agents don't overcome objections, and they're certainly not doing it now when they get this feedback. I mean, and I said, you are 100% correct. And he couldn't believe that I agreed with him. I said, I actually I like the format of showing process for you to just click yes digitally or text or say yes to an appointment. That's easy, right? Getting the name of it, doing that digitally, getting the feedback. That's our job. So please, if you call the last bunch of showings on your listings and you tell a seller that you do this, you will get that listing, because they are going to be like, yes, you're the one leaving no stone unturned. You're not just letting the feedback come on a multiple choice thing. You're actually digging in and finding out. Do you know how many above ground pools? I would call an agent and say, Amy, you showed my listing on Waterfall Court. I know there's an above ground pool. What do we have to do to be number one on the list? I don't know. Well, if I took the above ground pool out, would that help? Maybe. And here's how the rest of that went. Great. Do me a favor. Could you possibly, I know you're busy, I get it, but could you possibly call your buyer, I don't know, in the next, half hour, and see if we took the pool out, would they write an offer? And I'm telling you, every time I do that, I get one step closer to getting that written offer, and I've sold houses because of it. Okay. So the feedback, it's not a slide, it should be, but the feedback calling for, I mean, this is gold. And you do it on the listing appointment and you tell the seller, and then you actually do it. I promise you, you'll put deals together. You'll be telling your managers, you'll be calling me. You will love that. So communicate in person. I know it's hard, but as you saw, 55% is body language, tone of voice, like just even talking live, right? Getting on the phone with on a Zoom call with another agent isn't unusual. We don't do it because we get lazy. When you email and text things, there's just no way to have the right voice. I mean, I have shown the same three words or four words in one sentence and highlighted each word, and the influx, focusing on each word gives a completely different meaning. So it's no wonder we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We can't make this up. I had a client, they had five of them were selling a house through our company, and my agent wrote back and said, 350, no closing costs. And they were like, great. And they all said yes. They all signed the agreement. And then closing came around and they said, why do we have closing costs as a seller? Now, you all knew when I said 350, no closing costs, that meant for the buyer, but it didn't say that. Okay. So you are potentially putting yourself and your client in risk, 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 risk. Let's please force people to talk to you. Start with your own clients. Say to them at the beginning, by the way, this is how I communicate. Lots of things can be done on email and text. Lots of things cannot. I cannot effectively negotiate with you. I know you're busy. When I need to speak to you, we're selling a $650,000 house. We're selling a 2.5 million. I need to speak to you actually live. Okay, whether it's on Zoom or in person. My first choice would be with you in person, but after that would be on the phone or on a Zoom. And you set the tone at the beginning, you'll thank me. You will thank me. Please stop emailing. Bad news. What if your doctor sent you bad news on a test result? I get it. I have a my chart right now with my hospital system in Cleveland. I swear to goodness, if I got bad news on the my chart, I think I would like go below. Who wants bad news? Emotionally driven has to happen in person. I can save it. I can pivot. I can talk differently. Okay. Trust me. The more you implement these strategies, you will convert more leads. Number one, you will close more deals with less stress. You will keep more deals together. You will have more quality of life for yourself. You'll love your business, right? And you will get more referrals because people are going to be like, wow, this was the best experience I've ever had. Yes, it was because you prepared them along every step of the way instead of telling them things in real time. Okay. This manager and I used to do a skit. We would just pass the information back and forth and everyone would be laughing. But then we would say, how many of you are doing that? Like, it's more than unilaterally just sending things back and saying, tell me what you want to do. I mean, I get it. And price points matter and, what size house it is and personalities and all of that. But please realize that you add value to this process. Otherwise, they don't need us. Like, I remember Helen Hanna saying, they only need us for what we say. She was my boss, Hannah, and she's a powerhouse. And she would say, they only need us for what we say. Otherwise, they'd be buying it. I mean, I don't think they're going to be buying cars, rather houses out of a vending machine until I saw Carvana. I mean, that's not a bad model. I'm sure it works really well for people. They sell to Carvana all the time. People need us. They'll buy, Expedia was Zillow's first project. Did everyone know that? Like Expedia.com is the same founder of Zillow. And they really thought they could get rid of us. They can't because people will buy tickets for a plane. They'll buy tickets for, they'll buy reservations for a hotel. They'll spend 5, 10 grand. They're not going to spend several $100,000 without someone guiding them through the process. So you need to be that person that does that, that explains it to them, and that helps them understand it. And I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you're walking away with some new ways to communicate, or even at the very least, being more aware of how you're communicating and what you're saying to people. We have a lot of, success stories and case studies. I can go on and on all afternoon. I won't bore you with them, but I will tell you that if you're looking to up your game, if you want to double, triple your business without working that much harder, I promise you, having a call with me, talking to us, talking to my team, hiring us for coaching will absolutely change your life. One of the exciting things about that one call that you can book is that I'm going to show you some of our coaching tools, but there's a way you can also partner with me and get all of my coaching for free. So if you're interested in that, book that call, book it right now. I'll tell you all about it. This is Rebecca Murphy. She took her business from 32 to 84 million in less like 11 months. Okay. 11 months. She made another $750,000 going from 350 to over $1 million. One of the best stories. Melinda Conkar, also phenomenal, coaching over 5-6 years with us from 3 million to now she's doing almost 100 transactions. It's and she has no team. This is like an individual solo agent. Um, Absolutely fantastic. Again, if you want to book that call, here's the link, and I think Liz will put the link in the chat. Liz, if you're out there, you can drop the link in the chat. Book the call. I'll tell you, so many people have had this call with me, and then we go through your gold mine pipeline. We talk about what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Then we book another call. Okay. This is the link you would want if you want to learn how to partner with Sherri Johnson Coaching, and what I've done, and the model we have that will help you. You get all the coaching included for free, or you can invest in it. The return on investment is about, well, I'll tell you. So an agent will spend $12,000 and make another 150 on average in the first year of coaching. That's on average, some more than others. We do have coaching programs for individuals, teams. If you're a team leader, if you're a broker, if you're a broker owner, you're a manager, we have basically everything under one roof. And wow, that's always a big picture of, I need to change that. That picture's super large. This individual coaching is available, Sherri Johnson Academy. All of the scripts, things you've heard me talk about are all in the Academy, downloadable, easy to follow, downloads that will help you implement quickly. Implementation is huge. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've given it to you, business plans to gold mine pipeline to micro farming, and on and on. We have a 50% off your first month today. Take advantage of this. You can save 50%. Our coaching programs do start at $595 a month, $595 a month. The $995 plan is our best seller. It has a lot of coaching time and a lot of extra value. Please feel free to take a look at those at sherrijohnson.com. And if you're not quite ready for that big of an investment, we do have the playbook, which is playbook is the ability to give you all of the access to Sherri Johnson Academy for $49 a month. It's like a subscription. You can cancel at any time. And actually, what's great is the playbook itself is $49. The playbook plus version is going to be an additional, in addition to what's in playbook, the Academy courses. By the way, about 65, 70 courses, new content being added. The Playbook Plus gives you one group coaching session a month. That's $99. Again, you can take this, you can do this for a couple of months and then sell a few houses and join coaching, right? That's my goal for you. If you've never seen the Gold Mine Pipeline, I just want to throw this out here. If you've not downloaded the Gold Mine Pipeline system, please take it. This is your secret to building predictable and consistent monthly income. And I mean building. You can build a 10, 20, 30, 50, or $100 million pipeline. If you're already at 40 million, we can build it to 50 or 60 million. If you have a team leaders love this system. If you're a solo agent, we'll take you from 3 to 9 million, 3 to 10 million in less than a year. This system is better when you're being coached, but of course you can download it. And we've had people go from 5 to 10 million without coaching, which is great. If you want coaching, you want to invest in that, we'll help you get there faster. And again, I'm just throwing this one last time up on the screen for the free call. And I know the free call does open up people's eyes to a lot of things you don't realize exist, whether that's in coaching or whether that is in your current business. So this is a great call. It's everything, you are looking for. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I'm excited you were here today. Next week, I believe we're off next week because I'm speaking in LA. So we will be back on, let me look at the calendar. We will be back on August 7th. Is that correctly, Liz? I think that is right. I'm
That
on the
is
right.
correct.
Okay. And I'm going to do this. Here's the deal. If you have any question, to stay on for a minute here. I'm looking in our chat just to make sure that anybody have my glasses on. If you have a question, raise your hand, unmute yourself. Hi, Gloria. I think you booked a call already. We've got you. I remembered saying your name. That's great. Are you in Virginia? West Virginia.
Washington, D.C.
Washington. Awesome. Okay.
Chevy Chase
Awesome.
Circle.
And what's that?
Chevy Chase Circle.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Lee McGinnis is part of my coaching team now. Did you see that?
Yes, yes.
She's amazing. She was a former senior VP there in professional development. She's now on my staff, which is awesome. Gretel, you made it to wherever you were going. How's it going? Oh, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I was driving home.
Good. Well, where are you out of?
Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh, fantastic. What company are you
Yes. Colwell?
with? Okay. Did you book a strategy call?
Not yet.
Okay. Are you planning on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, 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 good. Some of you, I feel like I've seen your names. My friend Amy Harrington down in Atlanta. I don't see you on screen, but I'm so glad you were here. You made my day. Love your company and would love to see you. Guys, here's the deal. If you just listened to this and you didn't write down some action items like stop saying this, switch your strategy, don't you love telling a seller what they can expect ahead of time? I want them to freak out when it's not live. I want them to say, you know what? I'm not selling for that. I know you're not. Let's have that freak out moment before it's live, right? Because once it's live, you can't reel them in because they just came from somewhere. Who knows where? 15 minutes before they met with you. It's a lot easier when you've sort of prepared them for this, what to expect, and it's going to change. What else did you like? What was another? How about we've already had more offended by the 22 other people who looked at your house and didn't write an offer. Was that a good one? Are you going to use that? It's so good, isn't it? It's fabulous. It works. Don't say it nastily, of course. You want to say it like matter of factly, so you're not, saying it nasty. But I love you guys. I hope you got a lot of great value out of today. Bring a friend next time. I'll see you soon at Sherri Johnson Catalyst Coaching every Thursday. But again, no session next week. We'll send you an email for the one in August. Every week in August, we'll be live, and I'll see you guys then, okay? If not before.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.